Steve Sarkisian, at this point, I've loved the experience. I've loved what he has done, but he's still that unproven commodity, 7-win Steve. We'll see. And so either we have this resounding success of the season, everything that happens as it should, or we're talking about what do we do with Steve Sarkisian? And that's scary.
Ty Henderson, he lives a much different lifestyle than you or I. Ty is a lot cooler than both of us. So this is Abnormally Average. Y'all know the deal by now. This is just, you ever wonder what a couple idiots are talking about if you see them off in the distance? That's kind of what this show is.
All right, welcome back to the Abnormally Average podcast. I am your new host, Jack Farrell, and I'm joined alongside by your regular co-host, Mr. Jacob Standard. How you doing today, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great, Jack. It is awesome to finally have you on here. We've been talking about this, honestly, actually for probably a couple months, and then I kind of stopped talking to you about it for a little while, and then we got back to it, and so now here you are. So it's good to have you on here.
Thank you. It's very good to be here. We both lack a certain follow-through, responsibility. Those things are hard for young men in the media space. Case in point, our third host currently absent from the production as it stands.
Yeah, Ty Henderson, he lives a much different lifestyle than you or I. Ty is a lot cooler than both of us. He was out pretty late last night. He tied one on, and then he went to Whataburger, as he told me this morning, and he destroyed 4 entrees at about 2:15 a.m. And then he woke up for his 6 a.m. radio show. So he's reasonably, he snoozed right through his 2 p.m. alarm to come do this show, but it's all right. We'll carry on without him.
That 6 a.m. morning show, it's no joke. I've filled in for Ty many, many times at this point, and it's just like, I do the weekend shows at the station we work at regularly, but those shows don't start till 7, and there's something about that extra hour, getting up at like 4 in the morning instead of 5 in the morning. It's life-changing. I've done B&E, and you see like street sweepers like cleaning the street. Like, it's a different planet. Like, nobody is alive except for like it's like the Truman Show. The people cleaning up the city. You're not supposed to see that stuff behind the scenes.
Right. Who was it? Was it Jelly Roll that was on Barstool recently? And he was talking about back when he was an addict. He said he knew things were getting bad because he was going to bed as like the morning joggers were like taking off.
Yes. You see that all the time in Austin. Like, you see people waking up, these tech bros who get up at like 3 a.m. to jog with their like alpha mindset. And then you see people coming home. Yeah, they are. They're better than us because they make more money than us. And then you also see people coming home from like 6th Street, like full like nightlife clothing, and it's that like 3-4 a.m. line. Oh no,
that's the same people.
And that's Ty's sweet spot.
That's man. I don't know if he goes down to 6th Street. I know Ty likes to get out and get busy. He like I said, he lives a much different lifestyle than I do. I'm very tamed. I'm
an East Side kind of guy.
I don't even go out. I retired from competitive drinking a long time ago. It got me into a lot of problems when I was younger. So I try to refrain from it. I'll go out, I'll have a couple, I'll come home. If I'm in bed by like 11 p.m., that was a pretty late night for me. That was...
I'm a pregame all-star. I can't, especially in Austin, I cannot afford to go out and order a bunch of drinks. Now, get me down to San Marcos, I'll buy rounds. Those are $2 beers. But,
what?
Dude,
where do they have $2 beers at?
Like, just go to a happy hour in San Marcos, and then you get home early. You start at like 5. like $3 margaritas or like full size. It's a wonderful place. Austin isn't. There's a college. There's a few, but it's not a college town. Go to a real college town. There's the good kind of degeneracy that you really look for.
Oh, what's the good kind of degeneracy? Because now you brought it up, and I'm not going to just breeze past that. What is the acceptable level of degeneracy?
Well, there's one place in the vault that I've been that I said the vault. It's called the Vault in San Marcos. I call it sticky floor because you walk around in there, and your shoe sticks, like your foot comes up out of your shoe as you walk around. The worst hangovers ever are when you go out drinking in San Marcos because everything is so fucking sugary.
Ooh,
Sorry
yeah.
for swearing.
Yeah.
But dude, it's like all like vodka crayon pitchers. They have these Capri Sun thing. It's just so much sugar. And I can't like I remember, when you were like 16 and you're like Mike's Hard Lemonade is the greatest invention in mankind's history because you can get drunk and you can't taste it.
Sure,
but now like a
sure.
Mike's it's just a headache. It's
a whole
awful,
different
man.
set of consequences you have to consider. Every time Ty will tell me like, oh, I'll be like, hey Ty, what are you getting into tonight? And he tells me his plans and all that. Always sounds like an incredible time. I'm like, man, that sounds fun. Have a blast, but I'll just hang out here at the house. And then I see him the next morning and I go, yeah, I made a good choice because Ty always looks pretty beat up after one of those nights.
Did you say that he ate 4 entrees from Whataburger?
4 entrees. I wish I could remember what they all were. I know one was a Whataburger with a small fry, a honey butter chicken biscuit, a biscuits and gravy breakfast plate with an extra biscuit.
Hell, all right.
I forget the last one. I want to say it was like a sausage biscuit or something like that.
I'm glad that he peppered in breakfast and the lunch menu, the all-day lunch and dinner menu from Whataburger. That's, I think, my favorite thing about the late-night Whataburger is if you want, you could go breakfast and dinner at the same time at like 2 in the morning. I consider myself to be a Whataburger aficionado. It's
What's
very important to me in my identity. Well, I got to pour one out for the Monterey Melt. No longer on the menu. One of the most delicious fast food items. Just a gut bomb, the fajita peppers, the jalapeno ranch. But oh my god, the Monterey Melt. I mean, I'll eat patty melt classic. Just I will say I prefer the double meat Whataburger Junior to the Whataburger. It's a better meat to bun ratio. It's all about the meat to bun ratio, and I think the number one Whataburger, frankly. There's too much bread going on there. You got to get the junior double. That's my advice on Whataburger for the day.
You've thought this through. I'm just a guy.
I
sweet
work
and sour.
there. I know the secrets.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger. That's my go-to
Classic.
every time. Yeah, absolutely. Give it to me how it comes. Don't take anything off. Yeah, I'll take it every time. But
I get that. I go extra mustard.
Yeah, this show is not sponsored by Whataburger, by the way. I wish it was. That'd be a pretty healthy check, you would think. But this is, we'll get into it. This is Abnormally Average. Y'all know the deal by now. This is just, you ever wonder what a couple idiots are talking about if you see them off in the distance? That's kind of what this show is. We're just going to kind of ramble for an hour. Some sports, some pop culture. We're going to try and mix it all up. It's made up of guys that work at a sports radio station. So naturally, as anybody does when they work at a sports radio station, they assume, oh, we could do that. That's pretty easy. And then you get into it and you start trying to drive the show yourself, and we're finding out pretty quickly, oh, this is pretty difficult. But we're working our way through it. I want to start up at the top here. We actually put together a production sheet this week, so that's a step forward in the right
notes,
direction.
Baby.
Yeah, there you go. So Big 12 Media Days was yesterday and Wednesday. I actually got to go up there because of my job with the Horn. I get put in some situations that I am definitely not supposed to be in. I got to be in the press box for all the UT games this year, all the home games. Went to a couple of away games too. And then I was in Jerry World on Wednesday for UT's media days while we were there. And the UT stuff, it's not really much of a surprise. Sark rattled off the same kind of rehearsed answers that we've heard for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And I'm sure the other coaches did too. We just don't follow them as closely. But one of the biggest things I took away was Jalen Daniels was wearing this crazy-ass iced-out chain with a huge Cuban link necklace. His logo was studded in diamonds right below that. And then there was a diamond-studded Apple Watch right beneath that. And it was playing highlights of his 2022 season. And he was walking around with that at Big 12 Media Days. Are you in or out on this necklace? And do you think you could ever pull something like that off?
It was playing his own mixtape.
It was playing his 2022 KU mixtape.
Well, he's the what was he named? The preseason offensive player of the year.
Yes.
I'm just trying to look at what would my highlight tape. I mean, if you can do that,
well, we have to
holy
suspend
shit,
disbelief for this segment
absolute
because you or I do
baller
not
move.
have a college highlight tape. But if you did,
I mean, I would just be too it takes a special type of I mean, you could say ego, but it's got to be. You have to have some level of ego, an insane level of ego to pull that off, and have it not be like a dick move. Because you tell me that, I think that's like the coolest thing I've ever heard. If I was walking around with my own highlight tape playing on my chest, I absolutely could not pull that off in any context. Really good at like setting up remote broadcasts and like plugging cables in. I do not think that would make a very good highlight tape.
Just a tape reel of you spooling wire.
I mean, like, oh, I plugged this in the wrong way. That light bulb going off. That's say goodnight to it right there. That's good shit.
Right. Yeah, there you go. No, I think I have to, like I said, suspend disbelief, right? Make yourself Jalen Daniels for a minute. I would absolutely wear something like this if I had the athletic ability that Jalen Daniels did. If I'm walking into Big 12 Media Days, right, and there's a bigger buzz about it than ever because of Texas and OU leaving, right? It got more coverage than it normally does because there's a big story going on. Last year for Texas and OU in the Big 12, storied franchises. And I'm the QB for Kansas, just got voted preseason Offensive Player of the Year. You're damn right I'm walking around with my highlight tape on my neck. Look at who the fuck I am.
Very rarely at any point in time have you ever been able to look at the quarterback for KU football and been like, that guy's badass. That guy's super cool. I don't think Kansas has ever had in the last maybe that one year when they went like 10-2 in like 2007, but Kansas football, it's cool. It's kind of cool. And as a Texas fan, we're ahead of the curve on Kansas football being cool. We've let them beat us several times, but now it's some other team's turn. They're on the up and up. So yeah, man, like Oklahoma, like, oh, you might see them losing to Kansas every now and then. When we did it first, we set the trend.
There you go. Texas always trailblazing, man. But if anything else, that big of a chain with all those diamonds and his highlight tape and all that, it proves that they do actually have NIL out in Kansas for the football team. It's not just the basketball team.
Good for Jalen Daniels. I know they were picked, 9th in the conference? I have a hard time. I think they could be a fun team if Jalen Daniels stays healthy. And what do they got? Billy Bean, is that his name? The guy who came in for a lot of last season.
Yeah,
they got a pretty good quarterback room. I think they're at least middle of the pack. They'll be a bowl team, I think, for sure.
I got to tell you, if I'm running a football team, I'm not sure I'm thrilled with somebody calling me a fun team. I don't think that exactly gets me psyched.
That means you suck.
Yeah,
that means you suck.
Fun team. Yeah,
yeah. Like the NBA, it's like, oh, they're these rascal. They're kind of this whippersnapper team. They're beating some good teams, and they're going to win 26 games this year.
That's kind of like the nice way of saying, like, I don't know what the fuck they're going to be, but it's not going to be good. It's not good. Oh, man.
It'll be an interesting watch sometimes.
It will. It will. That's enough Kansas talk, though. There was a couple other things I picked up from Big 12 Media Days. The West Virginia head coach, I want to make sure I get his name right, Neil Brown. He was on vacation when the preseason polls came out, and he's pretty pissed off that West Virginia was picked dead last to finish in the Big 12. Even with the addition of the new schools, they didn't get any respect in that part from the Big 12 media. West Virginia was 5-7 last season, and they allowed 33 points a game. And his defense of why he was so pissed off that they were picked dead last is they're returning a bunch of players from that team. That's why he believes it's an insult that they were picked dead last. Do you have any situation in your life where this might apply to you, where you might think, man, I'm really good at this, and really what you need is a little bit more self-awareness?
Yeah, Neil Brown, he's not going to be there in November.
Ooh.
He's probably the hottest seat. They're bad. They're not good.
They are really bad. They have not won more than 7 games under Neil Brown.
Yeah, shout out to the other guy who might be the only other team in contention for like that bottom of the conference is former West Virginia head coach Dana Holgorsen at U of H. What do you want, Neil Brown? Are you arguing how many teams are in the Big 12? 14? It's never 14. 12. It's never 12.
No.
Stop naming conferences after numbers. The Big 10, the Big 12.
Well, when they said
at least the Pac-12 has changed. Well, sure, but like call it like the Central Conference because we had Colorado and Missouri and all. Like,
well, let's just
name it after a number if it keeps changing. But Neil Brown, like, what are you mad about? Are you mad about not being picked 13th, 12th? realistically, how much better than last place do you expect to do in the Big 12?
Well, I get that, like, as Neil Brown, you have to be pissed about this, right? Like, you're not allowed to
Yeah,
just
you have
be
to
like,
make a show of it.
You're not allowed to just be like, yeah, that sounds
sounds right.
That
Yeah,
sounds pretty good. I understand that. But the defense, I feel like, could have been crafted a little bit better. If not by him, at least, like, somebody like that has a publicist, right? Where they're, like, crafting responses to media and all that. Your defense to be that we are bringing back a bunch of guys from this 5-7 team that allowed 33 points last season. I think that's the part that is making me laugh the most. Like, you couldn't come up with any other reason. Like, no, we hit the portal hard. We got some guys coming in. They're going to blow your mind.
It's the phrasing too. Because instead of being like, we got a lot of experience returning.
Yeah.
You were like, well,
a lot of guys from that team.
We got everyone. Everyone's coming back. It's like, well, we hit the portal. Yeah, we recruited. We got a youth movement coming in. We're excited about some of our young pieces. But to be like, hey, man, we're running it back.
Hey, man,
so it's got to be better.
Those boys last year, right back this year. We're not going to be dead last.
I'm so sick of this. It was a cool media days from everything I saw, but I'm just sick of this conference.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
it was
ready to get
awesome.
out of
I
here.
showed up. And
I just hate all the teams in it.
I forgot my tripod, left the house late, so I was holding the camera on a gimbal all day. And for those of you who don't know what a gimbal is, it's a very heavy device that does not stand on its own. So from 10 a.m. all the way until we left around 6, I was holding that gimbal up and just kind of resting it on my hip whenever I got a chance. So my right bicep is humongous right now compared to the left one. But aside from all that, all the madness, I'm not going to hit it too much since it was just a couple of days ago and we only have an hour. As a Texas fan, you're a lifelong Texas fan, right?
Born and raised.
Okay.
Both my parents went there, grew up in Austin. It's hard to beat the Texas Longhorns.
There you go. See,
For
that's
me,
the kind of attitude I'm looking for. See, we didn't have a college atmosphere growing up in my household, so I don't really have a team. I've told people a bunch of times, my allegiance is for sale to the highest bidder. And when I took this job in this Austin market, UT became the highest bidder. I want to know from a lifelong Longhorns fan, though, how pumped are you to go into a football season where Texas is favored to win the Big 12 for the first time since 2009? That feels significant.
Well, it's scary. Just you said for the first time since 2009. But
sorry, not that they haven't been favored before 2009. 2009 was the last time they actually did it, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, that sounds more right. I'm sure there were several years that we were probably picked to win the conference and just flamed out. And Steve Sarkisian, at this point, I've loved the experience. I've loved what he has done, but he's still that unproven commodity. 7-win Steve. We'll see. The criticism on Sark is always like he can't do it without the best toys, without his guys, without blah, blah, blah. But you got the best toys. Look at your receiver room. Look at your running back room. Look at your quarterback room. The offense should score 45 points a game. That's probably hyperbolic. I mean, there's some good defenses that you're going to run up against this year, but I don't think the pieces are there.
Right. Yeah. On paper, that team, you know what they are? They're the fucking Dallas Cowboys. That's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
On paper, you should dominate people.
What are you like? Are you like, well, the linebacker depth isn't great? Like that, if that's like the one thing that you can really harp on. I mean, people talk about the running game. We don't know who the starting running back is going to be, but there's like 5 dudes in there. And if one of those doesn't hit and one of those doesn't pop off, then you have like an evaluation issue. We don't know who the running back is going to be, but it's going to be someone extremely talented. Whether that's Jonathan Brooks, who tore it up in the bowl game towards the end of the year, Jaden Blue, who was a top recruit until he took his senior season off and fell in the rankings because he didn't have the tape. Still really talented. Cedric Baxter, I mean, he's going to be insane. I know I'm forgetting people. Wisner, that kid from DeSoto that put up a ton of yards in the state championship game against Vandergrift. The offense should be Savion Red, who's transitioned from wide receiver to running back. It's a deep room. Keelan Robinson, the guy returning. Like, it should be there. Texas is favored for a reason. I don't really see a team in the Big 12. Even if Texas is kind of underachieving this year, they should still win this conference. It's a down year for the conference. Oklahoma's still down. Maybe it's Kansas State. TCU just lost everybody. I think they're in for a lull. Baylor doesn't know who their quarterback's going to be. Fuck Tech. We're not losing to them 2 years in a row. It should be it's laid out for you. You won coming in, you can win coming out. And they also won the last year of the Southwest Conference. So it's all set up. It's all there. Quinn Ewers, if he has the season that he's supposed to have, will be a top 10 pick. But what if we fuck it up? That's it. You know,
Some
seriously.
people would say
like,
it's not what if, it's when.
when.
Right?
Yeah, when are we going to lose to Tech? Like, when is Bijan Robinson going to have his one fumble in a season? That's what I'm worried about. My analyst brain, I feel like since Steve Sarkisian has come in, I can finally go back to using analyst brain when talking about Texas football, because before it was just like, yeah, we're set up, but Tom Herman. Yeah, we're set up, but Mac stopped recruiting when he was winding up his time here. Charlie Strong never got off the ground. Like as a like you said, as a Texas fan, it's just scary to be like, yeah, this is the year, because it is the year.
It is. Sark's talking about these are the guys he's wanted.
Yes.
This team looks like his team. They walk, they talk like his team. And it's been 3 years now. So there's enough time to where anybody who was left over when he got here, he's had a chance to move on from. And this should be his roster top to bottom.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so basically and if Texas wins the Big 12, they're probably in the playoff. The only thing that I could see keeping Texas out of the playoff this year would be they go 10-2 with a loss to Bama, and Bama is undefeated until they lose the SEC championship game to Georgia. And so I think a one-loss Bama with the head-to-head win over Texas would get in over Texas. But otherwise, like, there's not a lot keeping Texas out of the football playoff. And the committee wants us in there anyway.
They absolutely do. Oh my goodness,
it's like,
they do.
It's the brand. I went to Italy. I was wearing a UT hat. We were going into the museum with the Michelangelo's David. And this Italian kid taking our tickets pointed at my hat with the Longhorn logo on it. And he said, Texas. They want us in there for the fucking money, man.
100%.
Like, if there's a way to get Texas in, they're getting in. And as a Texas fan, hell yeah, I love that. Even if we don't deserve it. But it's set up. And so either we have this resounding success of the season, everything that happens as it should, or we're talking about what do we do with Steve Sarkisian? And that's scary because everything feels good, but what if people are right about Sark? That's it. That's it.
And we're going to find out. And I will tell you, as someone who adopted the Longhorns for my job, I will tell you I have considered pledging my allegiance to the Longhorns because it is damn fun being a Texas Longhorns fan, because even when things are bad, even when things are down, Longhorns fans stick both birds in the air and y'all just keep it rolling. That is my favorite mantra. It's the same mantra as a Cowboys fan, which is what I was born into. I was born into a Cowboys fan. Very relatable for me. We can criticize the shit out of the Cowboys, but as soon as someone else talks bad about the Cowboys, it's, no, we're winning the Super Bowl. What the fuck are you talking about?
Amen, man.
That's the Longhorns mantra, and it is infectious.
I would say it's Big 12 title or bust. I mean, there are very few things that could happen that I would be like, well, I mean, if there's a world where Charlie Wright, who I think is still on the team, starts a game at quarterback, then I will be okay. Like, if Arch sets foot on the field in a game that is closer than 40 points, maybe then. But it's do or die.
I think if Arch sees the field this season, something disastrous has happened.
I can see us. We've seen games where, like, maybe even against like Oklahoma, where it's like the starters kicked ass. We put the backups in for a whole fourth quarter, or like even in the third quarter, and then like Arch gets in for a couple snaps. Because you remember the new redshirt rule from a couple years ago. You get 4 games.
Oh, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you don't burn your red shirt for playing a play. I think that changed in like right around when I got to school, like 2018, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay.
So you can give your young guys some run, and you see it a lot where, they'll play against Rice or ULM or whatever shit team we schedule for a tune-up game.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, you can play them then. So I think if Arch, that's the only capacity in which Arch will see the field. He's the third string quarterback on the depth chart.
Right.
So unless Quinn gets hurt and Malik has us up 40 or something, which I think could happen. I'm a Malik
dude,
Murphy
I
believer.
went to that spring game. I went inside and watched it after we were done
spin
pregaming
it.
it. Dude, he was the most impressive quarterback on the field. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't even close. I don't know, spring game, I get it, but
I mean, but the ball, the ball he was
Yeah.
throwing.
Yeah.
Like, who cares if it's spring game? He's putting that on the money. He's putting it where it needs to be.
and he
needs it
stayed,
back to back.
which means he loves it here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a fantasy in my head where we go on like a run that's even better than what Oklahoma did from 2017 to 2019.
Ooh.
Baker Heisman, number 1 overall pick.
Yep.
Kyler Heisman, number 1 overall pick. Jalen Hurts, first round pick.
Ooh, what if y'all have a Jalen Tua situation where you get all the way to the game, Quinn folds, Malik Murphy saves the day after halftime,
That's fine.
and
That'd
Quinn's
be
in
great.
the transfer portal after that?
Hey,
That would be...
either Quinn is like what Quinn is supposed to be, or like we cut ties. It doesn't matter.
Which I
Like,
think
we're
he
at the-
can. I think he can
Yeah.
be. I got to see him.
Oh,
in person.
I do too.
Yeah, I got to see him in person on Wednesday, and I mean, he looks. And again, it's all nobody's putting pads on yet, right?
Yes.
So this is what we do though in media, right? We talk about shit that doesn't matter until pads come on.
I'm not even like I'm just saying Texas doesn't need Quinn Ewers to hit as desperately as they would have for any other quarterback in the recent past. They're set up with like a Malik Murphy who's been there for 2 years, who I think could step in and be at least serviceable, if not very, very good.
Hell, Hudson
I'm
Card
just hoping-
played his ass off
Yeah.
when Quinn went down
He-
last
he-
year. Yeah.
and yeah, he was. I mean, he won the job over Casey Thompson.
Yeah.
There was a quarterback controversy. I mean, at times, I think Hudson Card probably would have been the winner, but it was just kind of Sark's MO to be like, we're going to put Quinn out there,
Yep, dude,
and he's
Sark
gonna
has to
figure
drop
it
those
out.
bombs, man. He just has to.
and now and Hudson Card is a starter on a Power 5 team.
Yeah, was
He
it Notre
transferred
Dame?
to Purdue, and he's going to
Oh,
start.
Purdue.
Purdue, right? Yeah, but so yeah, that's my Texas football fantasy is that Quinn goes and balls out, goes high in the first round. We get a year of Malik Murphy. He balls out, goes in the first round, and then we get Arch, and then we'll figure out. We have that kid from Alabama, who's like the 2025 kid, KJ something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talent. It's where we need to be. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're stacked on the offensive line. We're turning starters all across. It'll be. I hope it's a fun season.
All signs look
Really
up.
want to
And
beat Alabama.
I may need more than just your vote, so I may pull together like 4 or 5 lifetime Longhorns and see if y'all can like.
Oh, sure.
See if y'all can like jump me into being a Longhorns fan. But I really like this team, and it's been a hell of a ride this last 9 months being a kind of
Yeah.
adopted Longhorns fan.
Well, man, I can tell you as someone who, as a child, fell in love. I mean, I was 5 when they won the national championship with Vince Young. You know, Colt McCoy, Jordan Shipley, and then a decade of garbage. My freshman year of college was the Sugar Bowl year. And so I was like, all right, we're looking up. We were not. Tom Herman gets fired 2 years later.
Yeah.
And then Steve Sarkisian, my senior year, go 5-7, lost to Kansas. The only Texas Longhorns game that I have ever left early was
Ooh.
that Kansas loss. After the Hudson Card pick 6, I was like, I'm gonna go.
You know what? I think I'm gonna beat the traffic. You know what? I'm not gonna do this to myself.
I just was.
I'm not
I
gonna
felt
lose,
sad.
get pissed off, and sit in traffic. I'm just not gonna do it.
Going to that, and then we were like, do we even want to go? I had a roommate, and we were both like raised in Austin, diehard Texas football, and we went at the 11 a.m. day after Thanksgiving game. It was like 40 degrees, and they beat. I think it was Kansas State. They beat them handily, but just what a brutal year. I deserve it. And now, dude, basketball, I deserve this.
As soon as you
It's
start
been
using
hell.
the deserve word,
It's been hell. But Coach Terry's got the boys looking right for basketball. Vic Schaefer's got the women's basketball looking right. Softball's good. Baseball, you got Tanner Witt and LeBaron Johnson back.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be a Longhorn during the summer before all the games are played.
Absolutely. That's why I want to jump on now. That way people can call me, you can call me a hype bandwagon, but I'll stick to it if they start losing even, after that into the fall and the spring and all that. But that's enough about Big 12 Media Days. You got anything for us?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Are you a Dallas sports in general guy? Are you Rangers, Mavs?
No. So I go Cowboys, Astros, Lakers.
Kobe guy?
Yeah, so we didn't do basketball in the house growing up, and I was born in '96. So like once I got into basketball, Kobe was all over the TV. So
Sure, yeah. Yeah, the first finals I remember watching was the 2008 when the Celtics beat the Lakers.
oh, thank
Kevin
you.
Garnett.
Appreciate that one.
Anything's possible. Remember
Anything's
that?
possible.
But then you won the next two,
Yep.
so hard to feel too bad about it. But after the fiasco of just Kyrie Irving's last several years, basically since he left Cleveland, and even before, I mean, when he was demanding trades from Cleveland,
Even those
'cause he didn't
last
want to play
couple
with
years
LeBron.
in Cleveland, where it was like, who's the problem? LeBron, Kyrie, LeBron. Yeah.
So Kyrie goes, the Boston's a debacle. Everyone's like, that team's set up to win titles. It was a disaster. The Nets super team that just never got off the ground. The documentary and everything else
Wait,
getting
documentary?
dropped by
What
Nike.
documentary?
The documentary that he posted that got him in trouble.
Oh! I thought you meant somebody was doing a documentary on Kyrie.
Oh, that'll come.
It has to, right?
Yeah, I mean, now that Jerry Jones is getting a propaganda documentary, the door's open for everybody. That's gonna be, oh my god, just Jerry Jones praising himself for a 10-part documentary miniseries is gonna be fantastic.
That he paid
But Kyrie
for.
Irving, yes, you thought Last Dance was propaganda. My lord. But anyway, Kyrie, dropped by Nike, needs a new shoe home, a new signature shoe deal.
As one does.
Yeah, when they're all lining up. Kyrie has signed a deal with the Chinese shoe brand Anta.
Really?
Have you ever heard of Anta?
No, it sounds like a political group.
Kind of does. But Kyrie Irving is not their first shoe deal that they have signed.
Really?
So I was looking, I decided to take a look at, there's so many different shoe brands that sponsor NBA athletes. Obviously, the big one is going to be Nike. Their starting five of shoe brand is better than anybody.
Okay.
But Anta, I feel like, has put together a pretty good crew. This is like a team that you could actually see out on a basketball court and feel pretty decent about. Maybe not so much in 2023, but like in 2021.
But if you took the prime of everybody's careers on this list, yeah. Okay.
But their five is going to be Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Alex Caruso, the White Mamba,
What?
Laker legend, Aggie legend, Gordon Hayward, and Kevon Looney. So you got a couple Warriors in there, but that's what Anta's working with as far as a starting five. I have all these written down. You're not beating Nike. Nike can trot out Devin Booker, Paul George, Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Giannis.
Yeah, you might have some problems
Anta
with that.
can't beat that.
No, I don't think they can. But that Anta, and how is Anta spelled? How is Anta spelled?
Anta.
Really, just like it sounds. Kyrie,
But
Klay,
I think-
Caruso, Hayward, and Kevon Looney. That is devastating.
Do you think they could? I think they could beat Puma's lineup.
Ooh.
Puma has LaMelo Ball, Marcus Smart, Michael Porter Jr. just won a title in Denver, Kyle Kuzma, and DeAndre Ayton.
No way. Puma's winning.
You're taking Puma there?
Yeah, just go down the line of the matchups. What were they again? It was
LaMelo, Marcus Smart, Michael Porter Jr., Kuz, and DeAndre Ayton.
yeah.
I think Kyrie carries it home. Marcus Smart, that's your Kyrie stopper. But I think that's a good game.
Yeah, but I don't think so. Oh, good game, sure. But does Anta win? I don't think so. I think Puma takes that one. Actually, the more I'm looking at it, I think they take it pretty soundly.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Kuzma, he's going to have to give you some buckets.
That,
Gordon Hayward,
that
that's
is
what makes it
always
tough.
the discussion with Kuz, right? It's like, oh yeah, it's awesome. Can you score, buddy? Can you?
Man, I'm like Utah Gordon Hayward. I think that puts Anta over the top.
That's right. I
but,
forgot.
like,
We're doing the primes of their career. Okay. Yeah.
washed old, like now Gordon Hayward. That's why I said like 2021.
Yeah.
Like,
I
maybe
forgot
had a
about
little
that.
more
Yeah.
tread on those tires, but You know what? One that's real top heavy, but I actually kind of like this as a roster is Under Armour. Bad shoes. Don't get me wrong. But first of all, your point guard, Steph Curry.
Yep.
That takes you a good way. Your shooting guard, former Maverick, the rookie sensation that was before Luka, Dennis Smith Jr.
Really?
Who's not going to get you? He's not going to score, but he can defend.
Where's he
and
at
I think
now?
next
The
to
Thunder?
Curry, you need like a real lockdown defender. Dennis Smith Jr. I don't even know. I think he was over somewhere east for a while, but he's a lockdown defender.
Yep.
And a pretty good player. You have Will Barton as your small forward, who was a key cog on those Denver teams for a few years. Yeah, Dennis Smith Jr. is on the Nets now, I think. But that's an interesting, weird Nets team. But your small forward is going to be Will Barton. Your power forward, a kind of a weird commodity, and current 76er, Mo Bamba. A weird fit at the 4, but there was kind of slim pickings for Under Armour. Don't really know what he is. Can he stay healthy? Can he actually knock down shots from the outside? Can he stretch the floor? But I think the 1-2 punch of your point guard, Steph Curry, and your center, NBA MVP, Joel Embiid, I think that can kind of carry you a good way. That's a pretty good star tandem.
Yeah, I think that team dominates the previous two pretty easily.
Pretty easily. I mean, Nike... No one's beaten Nike. You have several of the best teams in the league.
Not. I mean, they're Nike for a reason.
And then for the Jordan brand, which is different than Nike. I mean, they're kind of. I don't really know the difference.
Okay, yeah.
It's like a subset. But anyway, Jordan has a few athletes. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony, who was a long time Jordan athlete, but he is no longer in the league. I feel like I cannot count him. And yeah, going on to Adidas, if you want the history of Adidas, they got everybody. They got Kareem, but I'm not counting all that.
Right.
But for Jordan, several years ago, this would have been the backcourt. It was Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook for your backcourt for Jordan brand. Then to round out your front court, you got Luka, Tatum, and Zion.
Ooh.
And when Zion's healthy, he's a top 5 guy. I mean, when Zion's on the court, he's pretty unstoppable, but he's only on the court about 15 games a year, if that.
Yeah, he's also unstoppable in the drive-through.
There you go. And with fucking up your relationships with porn stars. She got... the world was a better place when Mariah Mills was suspended off of Twitter. Did you read some of those?
No.
She was going in on Zion. Just crazy shit.
I've seen people reposting that video now of that old rookies ad for the NBA where like Ben Simmons is talking to Big Cat, D'Lo, and who's the other guy? Shit, doesn't matter. But D'Lo, he's like, they're giving him all these tips, and he goes, "You got anything else for me, D'Lo?" And he goes, "Yeah, you got a phone?" He goes, "Yeah." He hands it to him. He fucking throws it in the ocean.
Yeah. That was Nick Young, right?
Yeah.
And he was dating Iggy Azalea.
Yes.
Which is, when was the last time
Lakers
you heard
fan,
the name
believe me,
Iggy Azalea?
I saw all that play out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Swaggy P, baby. Swaggy P.
Swaggy P. The GIF, the famous GIF. But Iggy Azalea, dude. That's who all that was over.
Really? Mm.
The Australian rapper. Now, yeah,
It's super fake, but she does have a very fat backside.
As she does. And a very offensive put-on accent that she does. But one of the newcomers to the basketball shoe very recently, not an old man dad shoe, and that's New Balance. They've got a good spread here. Now, this isn't a great roster. They don't really have any bigs. Their starting center is going to be Kawhi Leonard. But they got Kawhi Leonard.
Well, yeah.
Then they have Jaylen Brown and Zach LaVine. They also have Jamal Murray and DeJounte Murray. So you got defense, you got scoring. It's interesting.
That is an
I think I would take
lineup.
just Kawhi Leonard alone and the leap that Jamal Murray took. Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine. I mean, I think that they might be last, but I don't think it's by much. I think they might be better than Anta, especially if we're taking current Clay, who's lost a couple steps.
That's what I was going to ask you is of all those teams you just put together, I mean, if you got to take one of them and they have to win the championship or, you forfeit your life savings, which one of those are you taking? Besides Nike.
Other than Nike. I'm looking at it. I still haven't gotten to Adidas. Adidas is a funky roster too.
Okay.
But you have Trae Young, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and Kristaps Porzingis.
Oh, shit.
Too many guards. I think Donovan Mitchell's like a shooting guard, and I have him slotted in at power forward. James Harden, say what you will, he can defend bigs. He has a weird thing. Like, there's some weird stats where when bigs try to back down James Harden, if they get a mismatch on him in the post, it doesn't go well. He can hold his own down there.
I would not have expected that.
So you got Porzingis, a good drop defender, Harden, who can hold his own against bigs.
Yeah.
You got shooting and creation with Trae and Lillard.
You're switching everything on defense. Yeah.
I could talk myself into Adidas. As it's kind of stinky though, but I think Under Armour with Curry and Embiid might just kind of tear through it. I mean, I included Will Barton on this list, so that kind of gives you an idea of what we're dealing with for Under Armour. But I think I would lean Under Armour. I don't know what I'm getting out of Puma. Puma's kind of sneaky. Actually, I'm taking Jordan Brand.
Really?
I'm taking Jordan Brand.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm going. Either Adidas or Jordan. I mean, Luka and Tatum and Zion. I know Russ and CP3 are both kind of washed, but
I'd have to go Under Armour of the list you provided. I just think Steph and Embiid is just too much. I mean, we watched Jamal and Joker just tear through the fucking league. I mean,
yeah.
But
I think Under Armour's a good pick. I might have to go Jordan here, just if I can get a little more juice out of Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Because what he did with the Clippers, once he got there, he was much better than he was.
Well, we're talking prime. Talking prime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, OKC Russ.
If we're talking prime, we got an MVP and then at least two, in my opinion, future MVPs in Luka, Tatum, and Zion. I would be surprised if two of those, I wouldn't be surprised if all three of them won at least one,
right.
But you got, might go Jordan there. Because I don't like the roster construction for Adidas. Too many guards.
Yeah.
Too much. I mean, Dame and Trae are some of the worst defenders in basketball, and then you're looking at James Harden and Donovan Mitchell to plug the back end for it, and they're not defenders either.
Yeah, no, you're giving up too much size.
Kyrie Irving signing with Anta gives them a formidable group. They got defense, they got scoring. I like Kevon Looney.
Yeah, no, that Anta group is definitely moving into the realm of competing with those other starting fives. I don't think they're quite there.
Yeah, like all of these they kind of work. All these kind of, I mean, maybe not. I mean, other than the roster constructions with like New Balance and stuff. Like it's surprising how well like Puma worked out. You have your definite point guard, you have your definite shooting guard. Like everybody's playing the right position there. And who knows what you're going to get from DeAndre Ayton? Is he good? Is he that? Does he just fucking hate being in Phoenix for some reason? We'll see.
No, that was good. Hey, well done, Jack. Well done. That was a lot of quality research there, man. That was very well put together.
It took me several minutes.
Several minutes. That's funny. You got anything else? Because I've just got some quick extracurricular topics that I want to hit for the rest of the show.
Well, we do have baseball All-Star breaks wrapping up.
There you go.
We have the rest of the Major League Baseball season. You say you're an Astros fan. Boo, cheaters, boo. I'm also an Astros fan.
Okay.
But going in, trailing 2 games against the Texas Rangers, Yordan Alvarez and Jose Urquidy, who hasn't pitched since April, starting rehab assignments in AAA. Altuve should be not too far behind them, coming back from his recent oblique injury. I think it's pretty obvious the Astros need a starting pitcher, but I do want to shout out to Hunter Brown, shout out to JP France.
Yeah, who the fuck is that
JP
kid?
France especially. The stash?
No, the Hunter Brown,
Hunter Brown?
kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's
known? Did we know about him?
he pitched last year. I don't know if you've seen the side by sides. He's like a huge Verlander guy. He's from
Yeah.
Michigan, so he's a
Yeah.
Detroit fan.
Okay.
Their mechanics are like incredibly similar, and I
Yeah.
think it was really helpful for him to, I mean, hang out. Verlander won a Cy Young last year.
Right.
He like with his idol, the guy whose mechanics he's copied. But the Astros again, for a team with a shitty farm system ranking, they seem to keep finding guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Chas McCormick was a 20th round pick. Corey Julks has been good this year.
Bingo. That's who I was going to bring up. Is Corey Julks. Every time I turn on an Astros game, Corey Julks
for like
is hitting a hard double to the gap. Like,
yes, I mean, the average numbers aren't great, but he comes in off the bench, he gets hits.
Yeah.
You have like too much depth at outfield. Now you're like, where do we play Myers? Where do we play McCormick? Dusty's got to get over the McCormick thing. He's your best center fielder.
Yeah.
He's earned it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need a starting pitcher. I think maybe you need another bat if there's something out there, because it sounds like Michael Brantley's. It sounds like that's not going too well. But I mean, that would just be that would be literally a free bonus. I feel like the Rangers are tapering off. They started too hot. Astros took 3 of 4. It's only a 2-game lead for them at the All-Star break. They had a chance to pad it with Houston going 1 out of 4 against Seattle, but they spent that time losing to the Nationals.
Yeah.
And they had their 15 All-Stars or whatever, and a single one of them couldn't reach base in the All-Star game. I just think it's interesting. I think the AL West is it's a sneaky, it's a good storyline because, you look at it, and then whoever wins the division obviously wins the division, but whoever loses that probably goes to the wild card and probably gets to play the winner of the AL Central.
Oh yeah.
Who's going to be the worst team in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
So even if you lose the division, if you're one of the higher wild card spots, you get to play. Who the fuck is it? Is it going to be Minnesota? Okay. Is it going to be Cleveland? Those are 2 very mediocre teams. I think it's going to be fun. I mean, we'll see if Trout can come back and make the Angels interesting. We'll see if the Angels ship off Ohtani to try and get some haul, because he's probably not going to come back. AL West, man.
So what you're saying is the top 2 teams in the AL West are destined for a championship series of some kind to go to the big showdown, right? The World Series?
Yeah, I would think so.
I would think so too.
Unless, I mean, I forget the format since they've like added new teams. We'll see what the wild card, because I mean, you're going to get maybe 2 teams from the AL East. Like you might get, although New York without Aaron Judge has been pretty bad.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Toronto, New York, Baltimore, 2 of those teams I would guess are going to make the postseason. I think Tampa just has enough of a lead. Well, they'll hold on to that. But those are scary teams. And if Aaron Judge can come back, I mean, he had a great start to the season. His pace was like better than what he had last year, obviously setting the
it doesn't sound like he's
AL
coming
record
back
for
though.
home
All the
runs.
reports I've heard, everybody's pretty down in the dumps on that, and that's an unfortunate one, man. Just a routine fly ball just runs into the gate.
Oh no, the Yankees suffered a misfortune.
I know, right? It's hard to feel bad for him, especially
He seems like a good guy, even though every player that said shit about the Astros, I'm kind of like, fuck you.
Oh, so then you hate everybody?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's been a few. But,
you hate former Astros.
Yes. Oh my god. Yes, I hate former Astros. I have lists. Dude, there's nobody I hate more than players on my teams.
Right. Oh no, I feel that. I feel that 100%. But it is
Also,
going to be. Go ahead.
We can keep going on baseball, but I just want to say, our guy Serge Rice, he's going to be making his summer league debut tonight.
Oh,
and I'm extremely excited for that as well.
Let's talk about that. So what was the you sent the story and I didn't get a chance to read all of it. I just saw a little bit. What was the issue? They found an iron deficiency?
Yeah, it was iron deficient. He was sick, and I mean he's very thin. We saw that at Texas. They could
Sure.
move him around a little bit, but he was dealing with an iron deficiency. Or the former Texas Longhorn now on a two-way contract with the Spurs, meaning those of you in Austin, Texas, can occasionally go and check out Serge Rice playing games up in Cedar Park for the Austin Spurs. But Victor Wembanyama shut down for Summer League. So if you Spurs fans are Texas fans, you have a reason to watch Summer League.
And that's tonight,
Again.
right? Expected
That is tonight, Friday night. But I'm excited. I've been eating Summer League up. I'm a big fan of. I love draft. I love rookies. I love prospects. So it's just been a lot of fun. You get to see, Marcus Carr. He's playing for the Suns in the Summer League, getting some minutes here and there. It's great. It's been a fun Summer League for every fan of a team in Texas. You have something to really watch.
Right. Yeah, no, it's been good. There's a lot of Longhorns getting some run in Summer League this summer. So I'm sure it is fun for you lifelong Longhorn people you watch these guys kind of grow in your program, and then to be performing at the highest level is pretty cool to see. Especially Serge Rice, because I think, like, just following Texas for a year, like just watching that team, I always thought he was the most pro ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just can score at will, can score at three levels.
Never in a rush.
And very methodical, very good at picking his spots. He played basketball. This is a weird comp, but like the way Sam Ellinger would run with the football, that's kind of how, because he was never fast, but like on every Sam Ellinger run,
and unathletic.
yes, no, like literally, and it worked. Sam Ellinger would always get like 3 or 4 more yards out of a rushing play than you thought, because he could just duck down and kind of bob and weave through, get to his spot, and then be like, right here's good, and just, that was it, Like, he'd be like, all right, I got my first down. I'm going to make one more guy miss, and then I'm going to fall forward. That's how he would just, like, he would either get to the lane or he'd get to the spot in a mid-range, and a big would come up on him, and then he'd be like, all right, I can just go to a floater. I can go to a mid-range shot. Or if the big is too aggressive, I can get by him and get to the basket. He just always found a way to just get exactly what he needed to do just enough to get that basket, to get fouled, get to the free throw line, and the pump fake. We all know the pump fake
is nasty.
The
pump fake is nasty.
I'm so sad that he will eventually get to the NBA one day, and like teams will game plan for it.
Yeah,
because when it's just like a summer league game or a G League game or a random, if you like, the pump fake got way less effective throughout the season through the Big 12 with Serge Rice, because like it still worked, but like you play 2 games against it and you can kind of see it. So it's always just a pleasure to watch Serge Rice play a team for the first time.
Oh yeah,
because he just gets him. He gets it, and it's like that was I'm not as good as him, but like I'm very unathletic, but I played basketball and I could shoot like 1 dribble pull ups or catch and shoot, and I could get people up 1 dribble into a shot. So I have a strong connection to Serge Rice.
So you're Serge Rice. You're basically Serge Rice. You could have played at Texas.
My knee.
Right.
My knee, man. Yeah. Well, I tweaked it once.
Yeah, that's the same for me. I was going to go
really
pro,
limited
but
my career.
I jammed my finger really bad one time, and so really kind of set me back.
I was going to go pro, except I was born with the genetics that I have.
What do you mean? Can you expand on that?
And unfortunately, it means that I am not athletic, and nobody in my family is athletic, and pro sports were not meant for me. Have I ever told you the story of the time I met Mac Brown?
No.
For my 11th birthday, I was given the opportunity to tour the facilities, like see the locker room before they had like the real, like they were renovating the locker room when I was there. But, they see the coaches' offices. They have like a room with the Heisman trophies, the crystal football, all that I got to go see. And at the end, it culminated. We got to watch a practice. I got to be out on the field for a practice.
Sure.
And we were with a guy who used to be an offensive lineman who knew my dad at Texas, who knew my dad through work. And he was like, oh, there's Mac. I can like flag him down. And Mac comes over, and I was like, oh my God, that's Mac Brown. I was 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, son. And I was like, hey, hi, Coach Brown. And he was like, oh, just pleasantries. And then he was like, oh, are you going to be a Texas Longhorn out here in the future someday? And I just remember thinking, Mac, I don't think so.
I don't think that's my path.
I don't think I can. I don't know why. Like at 10, 11 years old, I was already like pretty sure
like, dude,
that I
they
couldn't.
picked me last at recess. There's no
shot.
Like
I was unimpressive at recess, and I was like, so I was like, yeah, man, I don't see that. I don't think that's in my cards.
Yeah.
But I just remember like saying like, yeah, hook him. I didn't know how to be like, no.
I don't know, Mr. Brown. I remember every
he,
other kid can dribble between his legs already, and I'm struggling to even get 2 bounces going. I can't.
Incredibly nice man. He always tries to like remember people's names.
Yeah.
That's when he's like, hey son, what's your name? I was like, I'm Jack. He was like, hi Jack. And I was like, oh my God, this man's aggressively nice. But dude, it was spring practice in Texas. Even it was March, so it wasn't that hot. But dude,
he was in his element. He was in his element.
Smelled like shit.
Oh, I bet.
The players, the coach, it was nasty.
Oh yeah,
it was great.
Did you play sports? Did you play football?
Yeah, I mean, I played in middle school, but I went to like a weird, like religious private school.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we only had 6-man. And that's not football.
It's not.
it's just the field is so spread out. It's way more running. The scores are like 80 to 70.
Yeah, there was a kid,
and I was like, this isn't football. I don't want to do this.
No, there was a kid that lived with us in college when I was in Corpus, and he would always talk about his 7-man football state title. And it's like, oh, that's cute, man. We're gonna talk about real football now for a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I played basketball and I played tennis.
There you go. So I was on the team.
Tennis is my
I wouldn't say
sport.
I played. I got a lot of run at practice. Got a lot of practice run in. But
I would say I was a freshman on varsity in basketball, which is true, but that's because there were 13 kids on the whole high school team. We didn't have enough kids for a JV.
There you go. There you go.
So I was varsity. I got the letter jacket.
There you go. Yeah, I won a lot more games at the neighborhood park than I did for the school.
3.5 points a game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of basketball,
he's a good shooter.
Yeah. Speaking of basketball, LeBron made a pretty dramatic announcement at the ESPYs. Did you see this?
Uh-oh. I did not, and I'm on the pulse of King James.
Are you
so
really?
I'm surprised I missed it.
So this was.
I'm a LeBron fan.
When I came up with this, I designed this with Ty to be here because Ty emphatically hates LeBron. And I'm kind of in the middle on him.
He hates greatness.
I'm kind of in the middle just because I had a roommate who wasn't a basketball team fan. He was just a LeBron fan in college. So he just followed
player
him
stands
from team
are
to
disaster.
team, and it's just it irritated me. But then LeBron becomes a Laker, right? So now I'm conflicted. So I'm kind of in the middle on him, but during the ESPYs, he took a moment to make this very dramatic announcement that, lucky for us, he's coming back for year 21. Do you have any thoughts on the way he did that?
King loves his attention.
He definitely does. At least it wasn't an hour-long Sports Center special this time.
I would watch the decision live. That weirdest fucking thing. It was just like, oh my God. So yeah, I could talk about the decision forever.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean that's good. That's dramatic. A LeBron, an announcement, a kind of meaningful moment for him. He did the thing when nobody was really wondering.
No,
if he was gonna. Nobody. It would have been news if he said, "I'm retiring."
Right. And I'm not sure if it happened.
You already said you were coming back.
Right.
You said that you were going to honor your contract with the Lakers. But if this is, I would be shocked if LeBron doesn't go full Dwayne Wade, Kobe, like last
farewell
dance world tour. Yeah. Like if he doesn't do that, I'd be pretty shocked.
I know.
I would actually respect LeBron a little bit more if he did that.
Me too.
But I really do think he's going to try and do the thing where he plays with his son.
I don't think so. I think the older he gets, I think he realizes like that would be making it about him.
That's what Space Jam 2 was about.
Yeah.
So I think you're right.
Yeah.
Like that he said he regrets naming his son LeBron Jr.
Yeah, and I think
So I think you might be right.
I think the closer they get to that reality, I think the more he sees that as like, okay, I cannot be on the court at the same time as him. I can't.
I think you're right in the sense that I don't think he'll sign with whatever team drafts Bronny, but I think being out there for, if because LeBron's a Laker, if LeBron's out there in the East, you get 2 games in a season, you play with your son. I think he would still do that. I also don't know if he's ready to be done playing. So, but I don't know. Announcing it makes people talk about him on First Take, and it makes more people think about him and talk about him on Twitter. So maybe it's just that. Maybe LeBron, because he could play like another 3, 4, 5 years if he wanted to. He could do the Udonis Haslem thing,
right? And just kind of never
He's been
play.
sitting there. Yeah. It's like just fucking taking up a roster spot.
Right. It's like, what are you here for? I'm a glue guy now. Like, weren't you like the best player in the league for 2 decades?
I'm culture guy.
I'm a culture guy now. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're a Laker fan. I've loved the Lakers offseason.
I have too. The only thing, and it's unavoidable, so it's not something I can get upset about. I'm just like, I'm waiting for the day that we don't have LeBron and AD anymore, because those two create so many problems on the roster. Because when they're good, it's fantastic. It's never consistent. Definitely not enough to...
AD's just never out there.
Right, and it's definitely never consistent enough to like go on a... I mean, I get the playoff run they went on this year, but
yeah,
you always felt like that, borrowed time, right? Like, okay, we've definitely overachieved at this point. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think with the roster as currently constructed, you got Reeves back, you signed Gabe Vincent, your backcourt's better. I think this legitimately really could be a contending year if Anthony Davis plays, if he can stay healthy even a little bit. I mean, I know there's been some years where it's worse than others, but honestly, just like sit Anthony Davis until April, and then you can go on your playoff run. But yeah, it's Data Davis. It's a real thing.
It is.
Anthony Data Davis.
And it's terrible because we need him to play like he's 7 foot, and he, like, whenever he does, he gets hurt, or he's too tired to go the next day, or it's like, sorry, dude, you're 7 foot
and
tall.
I mean, you signed Jackson Hayes. That's at least a center, another former.
Yeah, like at least
Longhorn.
when we had Dwight, right? It was like we always had a 7-footer in rotation.
Should have never let Dwight and JaVale go.
Right.
You needed that big depth, so Anthony Davis didn't have to play the 5. And when he did, I mean, like, it was easier to, bring guys off the bench and have different lineups. But again, I mean, you can't fault LeBron for missing more time with injury. He was an Iron Man his whole career.
Yeah.
He didn't really have an injury until that first season with the Lakers, his groin injury. But now, I mean,
by the way,
he's
funny story
38,
about that. Before
he's
going to
be 39.
Funny story about that. I had tickets to go see LeBron his season with the Lakers where he had that groin injury. I was going to go to a Houston Rockets game because the tickets were cheap. CP3 was still playing with Harden at the time. Lonzo's rookie year. And it was like 3 days before the game, and I saw the injury happen, and I was like, he didn't even make the trip. He didn't even go. I didn't even get to see him on the sidelines. I know. Yeah. Lonzo also broke his ankle that game.
Oh, my God. Poor Lonzo, man. Yeah, but I've been stung by the bee. Stung by the LeBron bee. Buying Spurs tickets, you go down there.
Yeah.
LeBron James will not play tonight.
Breaks your heart, doesn't it? It's like, man, I can't stand the guy, but I wanted to see LeBron James play basketball.
I saw him once. I had the opportunity. This is how much of a basketball sicko I am. For Christmas, my present was in 2018, January of 2018, was to go to Cleveland in January to watch LeBron and the Thunder back when. My whole thing going to NBA games is I want to see as many names as I can so I can say that I've seen. So another funny thing, I've seen Dwayne Wade play in person twice. Neither of those times he was on the Heat. I saw him play for the Bulls and I saw him play for the Cavs. He was on the Cavs for like 3 months. And he was on that roster with Derrick Rose and Kevin Love.
Yeah.
That was the year the Thunder had Paul George and Carmelo Anthony.
Yep.
So I got to go to Cleveland in January. Went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That was very cool. A lot of nice artifacts.
There you
but
go.
Man, it's gonna the LeBron retirement tweet, the Woj tweet. It's gonna hit like crazy. I mean, it's LeBron. Like,
you think LeBron's gonna let anybody else break that news?
You're right. He might go for it. He let Woj break the Lakers news. He didn't go decision 3.0.
Well, he learned.
Because He did the decision, and then he did the "I'm coming home" Players Tribune thing. But it's like the NBA has had the guy forever. I mean, it was LeBron, and then it was either Tim and Kobe, and then LeBron were kind of battling it out, and
they've
then
got their
Jordan
next
before
one.
that, Magic and Larry.
They've got their next
but
one.
like, who?
Ant has the personality, the skill set.
Yeah.
Like it is like he is going to be
But
the poster.
is he gonna be? I don't disagree, but I think you're kind of. I do love Anthony Edwards, but I think you're looking at more of like a poster child by committee. You know what I mean? Because it's like Anthony Davis may end up being the best player in the league someday.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know, like he's going to be very good, but like having like the face of the NBA, because it's like Giannis has taken a few too many lumps. Like, I mean, they lost to the Heat in the first round this year. Ja would have been a good pick, but what the fuck is happening there?
Zion.
Luka's foreign. Jokic doesn't want it.
LaMelo's not as good as everybody thought he was going to be.
I mean, he's been banged up the last couple of years. I think he could still,
but he plays in a shitty market.
Be a star.
Yeah.
He plays for a team that has no fucking idea what they're doing. That just drafted Brandon Miller.
That
over
was
Scoot
previously
Henderson,
run by the guy.
who's. I mean, like, people need to understand that, like, because you're really good at one thing. Doesn't mean you're going to be good at another thing. Just because you're the best at basketball doesn't mean you're good at evaluating basketball talent.
Right.
Those are different jobs. Why were you letting Michael Jordan, the guy who picked Michael Kidd-Gilchrist over Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard? I mean, like, look at Charlotte's draft history. He's selling the team, and you're like, let's let him get one more on the way out. Like, nobody liked Brandon Miller over Scoot.
A lot of that was
nobody would have picked.
A lot of that was a respect deal, right? It's like, how do you tell Michael no? How do we vote against him?
It would be like if the Brooklyn Nets let Jay-Z make the picks in 2014. Why? He's a celebrity.
Jay-Z's like, which one is the hottest mixtape? That's the only one I want.
He would have picked. He would have fucking picked Damian Lillard over Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Because Dame has a hotter mixtape.
That's part of his interview process. He's just got like a stockpile of like 3 beats, and he has you rap to each of them.
Dude, there's a reason bad franchises stay bad.
Oh yeah,
and it's because you do shit like that.
Bad management. Yeah, it starts at the top and trickles down.
Why? If you're Cleveland, that's how you end up staying shitty. Is you take Baker Mayfield over the other quarterbacks in that, you know.
Yeah, that's and you fully guarantee a $240 million.
I get how good
contract.
he was in college. It's to a pervert.
Yeah. 23 pending civil suits at the time they guaranteed that contract.
Well, hey, he can afford them now. He got the money. I'm just glad as a Texans fan that I can continue to say that our greatest quarterback in franchise history is Matt Schaub.
That's the best.
It's Matt Schaub, dude.
It might be. God damn it! Who was that journeyman?
No, the number. Are you talking about David Carr?
No,
when we had him for 2 seconds?
No. There was another journeyman quarterback. Played for a bunch of different teams. Josh something.
Brock Osweiler. Oh, McCown.
Yeah.
It's now look at the record books. Deshaun Watson, I think he has a couple of the like single season ones, but for franchise leader, it's number 8. Pitch and catch to who was Owen Daniels and Andre Johnson. Big Schaub,
hand the
who
ball
I
off
watched.
to Arian Foster. Yeah.
Arian, yes, the Ricky Williams light.
Yeah.
And in terms of personality, but dude, I watched Matt Schaub. Killer at a quarterback draw. Great timing on a quarterback draw, Matt Schaub. I saw them get a couple cheeky touchdowns off of that over Vince Young and the Tennessee
That was one of the
Titans.
things that all the scouts wrote down on their little boards. Like, hey, if we need that QB draw, this dude's he's got it.
It's the Tom Brady QB sneak. It's the Matt Schaub quarterback draw. Killer timing because Matt Schaub's not running on you.
No. All right. Well,
dude, we're getting there. It's almost football time.
Man, I cannot wait. But I want to hit one more thing before we get out of here because we've already been recording for over an hour. It's been fantastic. But as the person who has to edit all of it, I like to keep it to a certain minimum. But I'd like to talk about 2 more unathletic whites Mark Zuckerberg is training with
people.
Israel Adesanya and
Big Zuck.
Volkanovski for a cage fight with Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Are you into this fight at all? Are you going to spend the money? They said it's going to charge $100 to watch this pay-per-view.
I mean, I'll pirate it.
Go. Yeah. So the only way they're going to get me to pay the money is
yeah.
if they raise the stakes. I say we propose this. Both of them have more money than God. Loser has to eliminate student debt in the U.S.
Yeah. Dude, yes. Yeah. Eliminate student debt anyway. Right. But fucking make Elon do it.
Oh, he's going to lose. Zuckerberg is going to beat his ass.
Dude, he's going to freak him the fuck out. Elon's not going to know what to do. Zuckerberg is insane. Oh, yeah. Have you seen that episode of South Park where he's like an anime villain?
Zuckerberg actually looks athletic.
He's going to come at Elon like a fucking spider monkey. He's going to tear him apart. And I'm Elon's number one hater. I am Team Zuck. That's my favorite billionaire is the inhuman lizard man, Mark Zuckerberg, versus the biggest douche in the universe, Elon Musk.
There you go. That's the title. They actually named the pay-per-view that. That's
Lizard Man versus biggest douche in the universe? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right.
Well, what are you doing this weekend, man? You getting into anything?
Taking it easy. Girlfriend's out of town.
There you go.
Baseball's back. Summer league's ongoing. I'm going to go get a big, gross, greasy hamburger, and I'm going to have a good night.
There you go. It's my dad's birthday today, so shout out, Dad.
Happy birthday,
the man
Mr.
I'm
Standard.
Destined to turn into one day. I see it more and more.
Oh,
I see it more and more every year. But so we're going to go check out. We got some plans tonight, and then we're going to go check out Mission Impossible tomorrow. We're going to get I'm going. So because it's my dad's birthday, he gets to pick the time. So it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. We're going to go to Flick's Brew House.
Matinee, baby. You when is Barbie and Oppenheimer, are those coming out this week, or is that 21st, like next week?
Cannot wait.
Right.
I'm a huge Peaky Blinders fan, and ever since then I watch anything with Cillian Murphy in it. And what's the director's name? He did all the Batman movies.
Chrono.
What's his?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, big Christopher Nolan fan.
I don't know what this movie's going to be, Oppenheimer, because like it's making bombs is like not cool. It's math. It's going to be a movie about a guy doing a bunch of math.
No, it's going to be a movie about the consequences.
I don't know. Yeah, there were a few of those.
It's going to be a movie about debating the consequences.
And I hear there's some tasteful nudity involved.
Is there?
That's
in Barbie?
That's what I saw online.
Okay.
Hopefully in Barbie. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling.
Did you see MGM put out odds on which movie would perform better next weekend?
I think it's got to be Barbie because of the teenage girls aren't going to go see Oppenheimer, or like 12-year-old girls aren't going to go see Oppenheimer.
They're not driving to the movie theater.
Yeah. What are dads going to force their kids to watch more of?
Let's go watch these people build a bomb. Let's go.
I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
All right, well.
That's a bar. I hope he says that.
Go. Well, Jack Farrell, thank you so much. Glad we finally got you into a regular rotation on this. This worked out pretty nice, I think. I think it flowed pretty smoothly. What do you think? How do you think it went?
Felt good. Felt fun. The time flew by. Got to get our man, Texas guy Ty Hendo, back in the saddle.
Definitely need his one-liners.
Make it a 3-ring circus.
Definitely need Ty's one-liners and his
freaks.
Stories of the night. That man, like I said, he lives a much different lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm fucking boring.
Yeah, right. We're just.
You said, what am I doing this weekend? I said I'm staying in and watching baseball.
I'm going to a 1 p.m.
What's more boring than that? Hey man, matinee. You got your whole evening.
Right. Which I'll probably spend, watching baseball. But anyway, I'm Jacob Standard. That's Jack Farrell. Thanks again, Jack. We'll see you again next week.